Cool. So let's get started. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar, EOSC in 2023, an RDA 10th anniversary year organized by the EOSC Finnish Forum. My name is Märkälä. I work at CSC IT Center for Science, and I'm the EOSC Finnish Forum Engagement Officer. And it has already become a tradition for us in the EOSC Finnish Forum to organize this kind of overarching webinar at the start of the year, where we take a look back on the EOSC developments in the previous year, and also take a look at what's coming up in the year that has just started. And before we go, I have a couple of words on the practicalities. So as you can see, the Zoom is in meeting mode, so you can see the other participants, and you are all muted, and we kindly ask you to keep your microphones turned off. So if you have questions, you can already write them in the chat, but you can also interrupt the speakers by raising your hand. And here's the agenda for today. We have two speakers, both of them are from CSC IT Center for Science. Sara Garavelli, who is the member of the EOSC Association Board of Directors since January 2021, and she's also the coordinator of EOSC Finnish Forum. Timea Biro is senior coordinator, and she has a lot of experience working with RDA. So I know that there will be a lot of slides in this webinar, so I give the floor to you, Sara.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anu, for the introduction. And indeed, as you said, so while I was putting together the presentation, so it seems that EOSC is not moving, but there was a lot of things to mention. So that's why I invite you all to interrupt me if you have any questions during the presentation, because there will be a lot of information. So if there is something that it's not clear or for which you want to hear more details, just stop me during the presentation or write into the chat. Okay, so as Anu said, so today I will give you an overview of the main achievements for last year, but also in correspondence to each activity, I will also tell you what's coming up next year, so that at the end of the webinar, the idea is that you have a sort of clear understanding of what's happening in EOSC. And I've organized the presentation according to three areas. So what happened in the context of the partnership? I remind you all that EOSC is a co-program partnership between the European Commission and the EOSC Association. Then we have the EOSC Association as a standalone area, and the entire EOSC ecosystem. So let's start with the partnership. So one of the main results of 2022 is linked to the European research area, meaning that there were the release of priority areas for policies. And these policies, the priority number one in this action list in terms of policy was indeed the EOSC and the implementation of open science as the new normal. So the EOSC partnership has been working in the past year to really establish this priority as priority number one in all the countries, and succeeded in that. And also, in 2022, more than 20 European countries recognize EOSC as priority number one in their national agenda. What's happening in 2023? Of course, the partnership will continue promote EOSC at national level and raise it in the national agenda. Always from the partnership, so the European Commission and the EOSC Association have been working to release the strategic research and innovation agenda for EOSC, specifically the multi-annual roadmap, what it's called MAR for 23 and 24. So the multi-annual roadmap is the list of priorities for these specific years, 23-24, and it's embedded in the SRIA document. The process for releasing the multi-annual roadmap is that there is a discussion between the association and the commission, as part of the commitment of the MOU. Then there is a community consultation, and then there is the publication of this multi-annual roadmap. The purpose of the multi-annual roadmap is to inform the work program. So that's the process that EOSC has established to make sure that the upcoming Horizon Europe work program includes the EOSC priority as part of the upcoming calls. And in addition to that, last year, also the association managed to establish a sort of process also to follow up. So the process doesn't stop with the identification of the potential new projects, but when the projects are awarded, the association together with the commission, they're working together to sort of steer and coordinate and align the projects that are funded. For the years 23-24, you can see on the slide the priorities that were identified: data quality, long-term data preservation, trusted digital repositories, and all these priorities are part, of course, now of the SRIA and of the work program, and you can find this in the link. What's happening next? So in 2023, the association and the commission have started already working on the priorities for the period 25-27. So at this point in time, the EOSC Association Board of Directors has already identified a list of draft priorities. These priorities will be discussed with the commission. Then an open consultation will be run. And the idea is that by summer, we should have the final list of priorities to inform the work program 25-27. In addition to the European Commission and the association, in the EOSC tripartite collaboration, we have the member states, and the member states are represented by the EOSC steering board. They are a very important element for strategize about the future EOSC. And among the main results of the steering board for 2022, the steering board have published 4 opinion papers, and I put on the slide the links to this paper. This paper were on monitoring open science, data literacy, data sovereignty, and also reflection on EOSC as a transverse European data space for science. So I'm not going to go into the details, but you can find the link on the slides. And the steering board has already identified some new areas for investigation for 2020-23. And next year, the focus will be on fair data productivity, quality assessment of research data, and digitalization of research processes. So that's what's coming up from the steering board from the policy perspective. I just mentioned that the steering board, together with the commission and the association, formed this tripartite collaboration. During the last year, there were some joint actions performed by the tripartite collaboration. One of those was this kickoff of these road shows at national level. So all the 3 parties went around Europe, and you can see on the slides where these events took place in 2022. And the idea was really to go and talk to the national stakeholders. In some countries, it was more mobilization of ministries. In some others, more about decision makers of universities, of research institutes. But the idea was to discuss EOSC in the country and the implementation. You can see, for example, that we also had a tripartite event in our region. So in our case, we went for a regional event because of the good collaboration that we have with our sister countries. And in our case, the event was really to exchange best practices on open science and EOSC, and to do a sort of benchmarking of where we are with EOSC. And there is also a report out of that. In total, these tripartite events mobilize more than 1,200 individuals. So as you can see, this is really a huge engagement effort that really was successful in 2022. And the plan for 23, of course, is to close the loop at national level. For 2023, for example, in our region, Sweden and Denmark are already planning a national tripartite event. We haven't discussed yet what to do with Finland. I mean, it's not mandatory to have a national tripartite event every year, but maybe that could be also a possibility. Speaking of events, 2022 saw also the first EOSC symposium in person after the COVID period. And the EOSC symposium was in Czech Republic because it was the EU presidency. And as you can see from the slides, we had more than 400 participants. And again, this was a joint effort of the tripartite, and there were more than 60 sessions, and lots of positive feedback have been received from these events. We are now in the planning phase for the 2023 edition that will be in Madrid because there will be the Spanish EU presidency in September 2023. We still don't have the dates, but probably it will be around mid-September. The other important piece of work started by the tripartite collaboration is about this reflection paper on EOSC post 20, actually it's not 2025, but 2027. What is that? So the EOSC Association, together with the European Commission, they started writing a paper to answer the questions that you see on the slides. So what is the governance that do we need for the EOSC Federation after 2027? Is the model of the current co-program partnership suitable for that? Or do we need a different governance model? For example, what is the role of the member states after 2027? Do they play a role in the funding, or is the funding still with the European Commission? How do we need to evolve the current partnership in the framework program 10? So are we gonna go for example, a joint undertaking for EOSC, or for example, we adopt a framework model like, for example, GEANT? So these are all questions that need to be answered now because the preparation of the FP10 program is starting this year. So that's why 2023 will be really a key year for EOSC. The process to achieve, let's say, an idea or a proposal for EOSC after 2027 is that there is this document now that is in consultation with the EOSC Association members, the Commission, and the member states. Feedback are expected by February, early February, where a short list of potential models will be produced out of these documents. And then this short list of models will be analyzed. So a SWOT analysis will be done from the EOSC Association perspective, from the member states perspective, and from the Commission. And then we will gather together to discuss the different perspective of the three parties and agree on a solution that fits for everyone. So the idea is to have a proposal or to reach a sort of consensus by Easter. The tripartite collaboration also worked hard on the establishment of an open science monitoring framework. So this open science monitoring framework comes with the model that EOSC has at the moment. So all the co-program partnership are obliged to monitor their progress and their results. So for EOSC, it was necessary to set up this monitoring system. As you can see on the right part of the slides, there are different things that are monitored by different actors. So the EOSC steering board, so the member states, they are called to monitor EOSC and open science investments and policies. The EOSC Association is in charge for monitoring the additional activities plans. What does it mean? So all the members of the EOSC Association, they are organizations that are contributing to the implementation of open science. They need to report the activities that they are doing as in-kind contribution. And all of this complements the national contributions to EOSC. And also the monitoring framework, which is another activity in the hands of the EOSC Association. At the moment, there is also already a pilot tool with some showcases, some early results from the survey that was run in 2022. That's the EOSC Observatory. You have the link on the slide. This EOSC Observatory, so the tool is under construction in the EOSC Future project. At the moment, it includes only the results from the EOSC Steering Board survey, but the idea in the long term is to have a unique system capturing all the indicators related to EOSC and open science. The main activities for 2023, so there is now already some work at the steering board level because a survey needs to be completed by around April 2023. And again, this survey will be focused on investments, policies, but also use cases. And at national level, in the context of the Finnish Forum Coordination, we are supporting our members of the steering board in the completion of that, especially also thanks to the participation of TSB and the National Open Science Coordination. But also there will be the first biannual report of the EOSC Association on all the activities, the additional activities and KPIs of the members, and again, the use cases. And now I want to stress something about the use cases. So this was something that was discussed also in the EOSC Symposium and in the tripartite event that there was at the symposium. So the European Commission is really calling for showcases of EOSC. So it's now time to showcase how EOSC can support grand challenges. That's why both the steering board and the EOSC Association will be collecting use cases at national level and from the members. And that's why here I want to launch a call for action also for all of you. We need to collect some use cases at national level, for example, on open access to publications, data management, fair data, open source software, and so on. So we know that at national level, many organizations are active on these topics. If you want to promote your use case into the EOSC context, please send us this information. In the context of the Finnish Forum Coordination, we have already discussed this with OKM and Academy of Finland, on which type of use cases we can present as a submission into this survey. But of course, maybe we might not be aware of everything. So it would be really nice if you have a nice showcase that you want to disseminate, let us know. And after the webinar, we will send you an information on how to submit this information to us. We don't need long explanation. It's really just a very short text explaining the context of your use case. So this was closing the part of the partnership. And now I haven't seen if there are any questions in the chat, or if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, I can move to the part related to the EOSC Association. Anno, you confirmed that there are
no questions in the chat or nor raised hands. So
okay,
go
so
on.
then I will continue. So the second area is about the EOSC Association. So as you know, the EOSC Association was established in 2021. That's the legal entity that was necessary to establish the co-program partnership. What happened last year? So last year, as you know, the EOSC Association has a board of directors, and the directors serve a mandate for a certain number of years. Last year, there was the end of the mandates of the president, Karel Leuben, and two directors, Sarah Jones and Ignacio Blanquer. And both of them have been re-elected. So the board didn't change compared to the previous year. And in 2023, there will be three directors ending their mandates, Maria Luisa Lavitrano, Suzanne Dumichel, and Klaus Tochtemann. And there will be elections again at the end of 2023. So there will be 3 seats, potential spots in the board. When it comes to the work that the board of directors are starting doing last year, so while the first year, 2021, was quite an operational year for the directors because the association was establishing its structure, last year we started working on some strategy. And in particular, one of the main effort that we started was to really clarify what is EOSC, why we have EOSC, and how EOSC is implemented. What you have on this slide is not yet the final version, but that's really the focus of our work at the moment. So because we are fully aware that there is confusion in the community on what is EOSC, what it means for my organization, and what it means for me in the future. So that's one of our priorities. In addition to that, the other priorities for the board are, of course, the work on the reflection paper, so the future post 2027, but also the priority in the interim between 2025 and 2027. And then we have also agreed in December to start in 2023, really discussing strategic collaboration with the data spaces, starting from the health data space. And we have identified two relevant partnerships. One is EuroHPC, also in view of this data federation call that is coming, that has many common elements with the EOSC, and the metrology partnership that is also very relevant for the research sector. In terms of membership, so there was a good positive growth of the association in 2022, showcasing an interest of different organizations in joining the association. And in particular, I've highlighted here what happened in our region, because there were really, a good increase of members. And you see that there were 7 new members from the Nordic and the Baltic countries. And also Latvia has also appointed a mandated organization in 2022. For 2023, the association is working on a revision of the membership fee model. So at the moment, there are fixed fees for members, 10,000 euros per year, and observer, 2,000 euros per year. So a group has been established to revise this model and see if maybe the fee could be, for example, related or adapted on the basis of the country, the size of the country, or maybe the size of the organization or the type of organization. So there might be changes in the membership model. And also the next General Assembly, that is the main gathering point for the association, the dates have been identified and it will be in May on 22nd and 23rd. The association, as you know, has the task forces. So last year, some work has been done. So the task forces have started basically last year, some more with a slow pace compared to the others. There are anyhow some early results coming out from some task forces, especially, for example, for the FAIR task forces. There are some deliverables coming up soon. What the association did was to support the work of the task forces, or keep the task forces with some support person, because this is all in kind effort. And also a quality review process has been established. What does this mean? So all the task forces are expected to produce some outputs, some deliverables. We want to make sure that these are quality outputs. So the board of directors is involved in the revision of the outputs, but also external experts. And really the expectation for 2023 from the task forces are results. So all the task forces in theory initially are expected to end at the end of 2023, but this is something that will really depend on the type of task forces. Some of them might be extended, some others might finish earlier, and so on. Another news for the association in terms of task forces, let's say, is the establishment of an operational body. So the association recognized the importance of the research infrastructure as a stakeholder in the EOSC ecosystem. So they decided to establish a working group as an EOSC Association operational body for the ESFRI research infrastructure that are part of the EOSC Association. And the purpose of this group is really to assess with the eyes of the research infrastructures the future strategy of EOSC, to make sure that the strategy reflects the expectations of those that are dealing with the researchers every day. So this is a very positive development, in my opinion. And this group will start now in January. Among the other things, the association has also established a platform for interacting with the members and the observers and the InfraEOSC project. And this is really a platform for the exchange of information. So this is also good news to try to make sure that everyone is on the same pace. A CSA has been also funded in 2022. It's called EOSC Focus, and this is the CSA that equip the EOSC Association with extra resources. There is a consortium with this organization. CSC is also a partner of this consortium, and the purpose of this consortium is really to support the partnership in achieving their objectives. Finally, the last news of the association. Last year, the association worked really hard to establish a new EOSC branding, and the idea is really to also to use this new brand to reduce the confusion in the ecosystem. So that was really the purpose of this exercise, and so now the association is still working on some terms of use for this logo that, by the way, now has a trademark. And that ends the part on the association. And now we go into the last area of development, so which is the EOSC ecosystem. And this area is mainly focused on what happened with the projects and the organizations involved in the projects. So in 2022, the work started to put together and align all the Horizon 2020 projects. The EOSC Association has produced a booklet that is available on the EOSC.eu website, where you can read all the key explorable results coming out from the Horizon 2020 projects, and also how they are related to the topics of the task forces. So this is a really useful handbook if you're looking for information or for potential collaboration. And this exercise was to start this process that the association, but also the Commission, think is really needed, more coordination or alignment among all the different projects that are in charge of the EOSC implementation. And this brings me to the new projects that were funded in 2022, that have started in 2022. So there were these calls in 2021 and 2022, and now on this slide that is very confusing, but then when you will have the slide deck, you can read it through that. You will see that all the calls for 21 and 22 have been mapped on specific topics that are the key implementation areas for EOSC. So you can see where the different projects are contributing to. And in this slide, you will have all the list of the new funded projects started in 2022/2023, because many of them are starting now in January. So this slide gives you the overview of all the new InfraEOSC projects coming out from the course 21-22. I also put this slide from the Commission because I think it's really interesting to see how many projects, how many million euros this InfraEOSC call have generated, how many participants, how many organizations, and how many countries. And you can see that in Finland, we have 16 organizations that were active in this course, which is good. I mean, I think it's a very good result for our country. As I was saying before, to continue the exercise of alignment among the projects, a consultation meeting was organized in September 2022, and that's a sort of activity that the partnership wants to continue doing also in 2023. Let's talk now about the future in terms of InfraEOSC projects. So now there are 6 calls open with deadline 9 March 2023. And I put the topics here on the screen. You have also the type of calls and how many projects will be funded. And just for your information, so the EOSC Association has decided to coordinate a consortium for the call Infra EOSC 0105, which is the one focusing on the EOSC architecture interoperability framework. In addition to this course, there are also two pre-assigned grants, one on the repository and one on the EOSC monitor. This is the first batch of course for 2023, and of course there is another one for 2024 that I'm not gonna comment now, but again you will have these slides and you can see what are the topics in scope. And of course this course really reflects the priorities that are in the multi-annual roadmap 23-24. I think, so this slide is the one just summarizing how the new upcoming call 23-24 are mapping the implementation priorities of EOSC. So this can guide you if you're interested in applying to one of these calls. Finally, my last slide is about not a call, but a tender that is also now that opened in December 2022 about the EOSC procurement. So I think we discussed also this in previous webinars. So in order to speed up the implementation of EOSC, the Commission decided to change a funding model for the implementation and to come up with this tender for procuring the EOSC platform. What do we mean by EOSC platform? We really mean the EOSC core platform. So whatever deals with the coordination and support functions, but also including the EOSC exchange services. And now we will go in more details. I put here on the screen the link to the text, and you can see also this diagram. That's where on the diagram you see that what is being procured now in 2023 is what is called on the slide EOSC node at EC, because in the text of the procurement they have introduced this idea that this first procurement will be aimed to establish this EOSC node at European level, and then the idea is that this node will be interoperable with other potential nodes at regional or national or institutional level. There isn't much more information at this point in time. Another thing that I want to share with you is that in addition to the procurement for the platform, the Commission also published a prior information notice about an upcoming procurement. And this procurement will be linked to the previous one, and it will be the one for the verification and validation of the platform, the EOSC platform service delivery. So in addition to the provision, there will be also another tender to validate and test this service delivery. My last slide is just about the structure of the procurement. There are 3 lots. Lot 1, 16 million euro, is really for the procurement of the EOSC core platform. And by that, we mean the web portal, the catalog of data, publication services, including the metadata knowledge graph, PIDs, the e-commerce marketplace, the monitoring and accounting, and the identity management. Lot 2 is to procure a container platform for a total of 10 million euros. And lot 3 is really for procuring this collaborative data platform, where the focus is more on sync and share services, manage interactive notebook service, and large file transfer service. And you see on the diagram how these are mapped in the EOSC architecture. Just few details on the type of procurement. This is a competitive dialogue. The buyer of these services is DG Connect, and it's for a duration of 3 years. And the deadline for expression of interest, because it's a 3-stage process, is the end of January. And this was my last slide. I hope you are still awake, because that I haven't confused you even more. Are there any questions or comments? Oh, and I see, yes. Thank you, Mari, for putting in the chat the link of the already released reports from the task force. Thank you.
Yes, Pauli Assinen has a question. Go ahead.
So good morning, everybody. My question is about Open Research Europe. As I found that in the when a project, Horizon Europe project starts, there is an introduction of services for projects, and Open Research Europe is mentioned there. But in Finland, I suppose we don't recommend Open Research Europe because in the UFO classification, it's in the level 1. I'm not sure if this is an EOSC Association or EOSC Finnish Forum issue, but I think it's related to the EOSC some way.
I must say that I'm not really familiar with that. So, I mean, we haven't discussed this really neither in the EOSC Association or in the Finnish Forum. So that's something to investigate, but I don't know exactly. What is exactly the issue there?
The issue is that European Commission tries to promote the use of Open Research Europe as a publication platform. But because it's quite new, it's in Finland, it's in UFO classification level 1, which means that researchers are, that's my guess, researchers are not advised to use that because we want to have researchers publish in the level 2, preferably level 3 platforms or publications. So I ask this because as an Open Air NOAD, I was approached from the Open Research Europe, and they asked how could they enhance the use of Open Research Europe in Finland. And when I checked, I found that, okay, this may be the main problem, because researchers don't want to publish in the level 1 UFO classification publication. So I was thinking that who could influence in this, and I checked from the Federation of Finnish Societies, from the UFO office, that actually this is evaluated by a combined panel, not any of the 23 panels, because it's a multidisciplinary platform, so it's not under one single panel. Just raising this because if the situation is same in all the projects as we are, I was and we are involved in one of Horizon Europe projects, and we just had kickoff meeting, and there was the representative from Commission and also the project officer, and they had in their slides when slides about open science, they mentioned and recommended to use Open Research Europe, because if you use that, it's free and it fulfills all the requirements from Commission for the Horizon Europe projects.
I understand. So
okay, good.
But I mean, I don't even recall, because when we had the consultation meeting, I remember that there was a presentation from RDA, which is the external agency for the Horizon Europe project, the Infra EOSC, and they indeed presented a slide with some tools that the European Commission provides. And probably I'm pretty sure that probably this one was part of that, but in none of the EOSC conversation, I've heard an encouragement to adopt this platform. So we haven't discussed it at all. So maybe that's something that I can bring into the board as a discussion, just to see also what's happening in the other countries. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks.
I think we move on now and give the floor to Timea, and then at the end we can go back to the questions.
Yes, I'll try to share the slide. Hopefully it went into full screen properly.
Yes.
Okay. So as you've heard from Sara, 2022 has been a very busy year, but and so will be 2023. In addition, 2023 is also a celebratory one for the Research Data Alliance. I'll try just to highlight a few of the engagement opportunities and a few of the activities that will be taking place in this year. Just as a reminder, or to those of you that are familiar already with the Research Data Alliance, and a short introduction to the ones that don't know much about it. The Research Data Alliance is an international organization that brings together researchers and innovators, data practitioners and technologists into interest and working groups focusing on building the social and technical bridges that enable open sharing and reuse of data. CSC has contributed for a very long time to the Research Data Alliance. Currently, it is an organizational member, and it's also a contributor at grassroots to some of the RDA working and interest groups that are focused on FAIR, on PID policies, on interoperability issues. And it has also been one of the founding groups that contributed to the launch in Gothenburg in 2013, and thus now it is also part of the celebratory, also contributes to the celebratory activities for the 2023. So the Research Data Alliance has set up a calendar of activities that is designed to reflect on the activities of the Research Data Alliance, reinforce its vision and guiding principles, support its membership and partners, and also celebrate the successes of the community. There's an extensive calendar of activities, with each month having a specific topic. As you can already see, these are outlined around very topical activities, around FAIR, around specific uses of data, technical and infrastructure developments, cross-disciplinary activities, training and education. On the RDA website, there is a nice calendar that has been set up for this. You can actually see here the example for the January activities. The January month is dedicated to the launch of some of these activities. You will see February is dedicated to FAIR and FAIR data software and hardware. And there are ways that you can take part in these activities. So they have set up a means for both the RDA community members and group chairs and various organizations that are part of RDA, but also to non-members of the external and broader research data management community to leverage this year and put in the enthusiasm and focus on topics that are related to research data sharing at both national, international, and global levels. Now, one of the key activities that are scheduled for the 2023 is for the month of March, when there will be the Research Data Alliance 20th anniversary, which is actually held in Gothenburg. So it goes back after 10 years to the first to the location of the first plenary, and we'll celebrate all sorts of activities and developments that have happened over the last year. There is an extensive program that has been published with a lot of activities both before and after the plenary. All of the links are on the slides, so when Anu will be sharing these, you can follow and have a look. overall, there should be for the actual plenary, there should be more than 55 sessions, which are focused, as you can see, on various topics. So the key ones that have gained more traction for this upcoming plenary are around the data infrastructures and environments at the international level, and of course the fair, care, and trust principles, their adoption, implementation, and deployment. I know a lot of you are already working on these topics, and also on other ones that are highlighted here. There is something called the plenary pathways, which are focused on these topics, and these will be published very soon. So then they would allow all participants to the plenary and allow them to spot the sessions that are interesting for them and guide them to the 3 days of plenary participation. We would also, in connection to Sara's highlight of EOSC related activities. So the RDA contributes to this EOSC ecosystem that she was talking about, and one of the ways that this connection between the RDA and the EOSC is supported is through events such as the one that is going to be organized on the 20th of March around the building blocks of global research commons in Europe. So showcasing the EOSC developments and beyond, so establishing connections beyond Europe with similar types of ecosystems such as the EOSC. And the focus on the EOSC Finnish Forum on actually the first plenary meeting breakout session. We have a BOF, so birds of a feather, together with the GORC, so the Global Research Commons International Model Group, where the EOSC Finnish Forum and our colleague Anu will be particularly presenting some of the EOSC Finnish Forum and the Nordic implementations of the research commons. Sarah mentioned earlier the use cases, which could also feed into some of these activities in terms of highlighting various EOSC implementations in Finland and across the Nordic countries. So these would be 2 very important highlights among the activities that are scheduled around the plenary. Now, in order to additionally support the Finnish participation to the celebrations, but particularly to the RDA plenary, there is currently an open call. So you can apply for financial support for the free registration and the travel to the RDA plenary. Anu and the EOSC coordination group at CSC are handling this open call, and will be providing support for the Finnish participation to the RDA plenary. So this is open at the moment and will stay open until the 6th of February. You have the link there where you can apply. We are very much hoping to have a broad Finnish participation to this plenary, and of course hoping that you'd make the most of this participation to these events. This would be the end of my short overview of the RDA 10th plenary celebratory activities and ways that you can engage with that. So I will stop sharing and answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Timea. So now if there are any questions to either of the speakers, please feel free to open your microphone and ask.
And in the meantime, I want to thank Lisa for having copied in the chat this opportunity from the Fair Impact Project. I don't know, Lisa, if you want to mention it directly.
Yes, please. I ask you to spread the word that we have this kind of opportunity in Fair Impact. Thank you.
Yeah, which I understand is to recruit some sort of fair champions, right? So maybe we can disseminate the news also, Anu, through the mailing list.
Yes, we can. That. And there was also a comment by Anka. I guess that was to Pauli's previous question.
Yeah, I think Anka was mentioning that the Open Research Europe is encouraged, in particular is an instrument for the beneficiaries. I think, Anka, that's what you wanted to say.
Yes, indeed, that was the idea. So not everybody can send their articles to be published there.
Okay.
I think it is broad, but only the beneficiaries of Horizon and Europe projects, as you say, can actually benefit from the free option. So the fees for the article processing fees covered for the Horizon and Europe associated project papers.
If I may, I find it a little bit weird that Finland is kind of afraid to use this platform, because we are talking about open science and open publications and the fact that we should not care where we publish. So we should not go to highly rated journals. But then on the other hand, when we are offered an actually quite good platform, we are kind of refusing it out of momentum, probably. So it's again a cultural change that should be take place now.
It must also, it has to do also with the classification. So possibly that would be one way of addressing this issue. So with the RDA, we've had an experience of a publication through the platform, and operationally or effectively, I can tell you that it was as Anka is saying, it's quite a good, straightforward, transparent platform.
And it's peer review, right? I mean, otherwise.
Yes, absolutely, yes. It's quite easy to use as well compared to other publication platforms that I've seen, but
Any other questions or comments? If not, I think we can start closing the webinar. And of course, if you come up with some questions later on, you can reach out to us and per email, for example, and we can answer your questions in writing. And like Sara said, we will make the slides and recording available, and also send you further information on the collection process of the use cases, and also about the call that Lisa put in the chat. So you will be hearing from us within a couple of days, I'd say next week, the latest. So I would like to thank you all for your participation and our excellent speakers who gave a lot of information on very many important topics. And yeah, I wish you a very good day. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye.